Breaking. A mayor has just threatened to dismantle the British monarchy, and King Charles has responded with a weapon no one even knew existed. Within the next 48 hours, one of them will be politically destroyed. This is the constitutional showdown ripping London apart. What happens next will determine whether democracy or royal tradition rules Britain's future. Here's what they're not telling you. 5 days ago, London Mayor Sadiq Khan stood before the press and unveiled the London Citizenship Charter, a new policy forcing every business in the city to sign diversity agreements or face fines of up to £50,000. His exact words were clear. London will lead Britain into the 21st century, whether the establishment likes it or not. King Charles heard that, and for the first time in more than 300 years, he invoked something called Crown Intervention, a hidden constitutional power allowing the monarchy to challenge an elected official's authority. Charles sent a letter to Parliament questioning whether Khan had overstepped his limits, and then the palace made that letter public. That's a declaration of war. If you want the full truth the mainstream media won't show, stay tuned because this gets darker. Khan's response came quickly. Yesterday at 4 p.m., he appeared outside City Hall, voice trembling, hands gripping the podium. The unelected king, he said, has just told the democratically elected mayor of London that he knows better than 8 million Londoners who voted for change. This is not 1825. This is 2025, and I will not be silenced by a crowd that has forgotten the people it claims to serve. The crowd behind him erupted, but inside Westminster, jaws dropped. 3 journalists reported the same thing. Khan's press secretary, David Bellamy, was frantically signaling him to stop, mouth thing, end it. But Khan ignored him completely. Feeding off the crowd's energy, he crossed lines that can't be uncrossed. Then came the attack that stunned Britain. How many palaces does one family need? Khan asked while ordinary Londoners can't afford rent. The crowd roared louder. Twitter exploded. Inside Westminster, panic spread. Labour's shadow Home Secretary, Yet Cooper, reportedly turned off her TV, saying she couldn't watch anymore. Even Khan's own party began to panic. Then came the story that changed everything. James Morrison, a 73-year-old Falklands veteran who lost his leg serving Britain, had lived in a small London flat for 30 years until last month when he was evicted under Khan's new housing quotas. Now he sleeps in his daughter's spare room, surviving on a £900 monthly pension. "I fought for Britain," Morrison told reporters, tears streaming down his face. "And now Britain has no place for me in its own capital." His story spread across the internet. Over 300,000 shares in just 24 hours. The contrast was brutal. While veterans like Morrison lose their homes, Khan's office spent £2 million last year on diversity consultants, including £18,000 on a single luxury weekend retreat in Surrey. £18,000. While pensioners freeze and veterans are forced out of their own city. Then came another viral video. Sarah Jenkins, a 62-year-old retired nurse from Barking, crying into her phone. "I voted for him twice. I believed in him, but he cares more about his image than about us." That clip hit over 1 million views in just hours. Polls shifted instantly. Within 72 hours, Khan's approval rating collapsed 18 points among voters over 50. He's down to 19%. Even younger voters are walking away. His support among under 30s dropped from 71% to 53% in 3 days. King Charles didn't back down. At a royal reception yesterday, he gave what insiders are calling the most political speech by a monarch in 70 years. The traditions that bind this nation together. Charles said his tone, calm but firm, cannot be discarded by those who mistake temporary power for permanent authority. London belongs to all Britons, not to the ideological whims of a single mayor. The room went silent. Diplomats froze mid-conversation. Palisades later admitted they begged him to tone it down, but Charles refused. He personally rewrote the speech 3 times, each version stronger than before. He was drawing a line in the sand, and he wanted the world to know it. Then at 11:23 p.m. Khan fired back on Twitter. "The Crown lectures me about tradition while protecting inherited wealth and privilege. I answer to Londoners, not to palaces." 17 minutes later, it was deleted, but screenshots had already gone viral. Political strategists from both sides called it amateur hour. You don't pick a midnight fight with the monarchy and then delete it. It made him look panicked, desperate, and out of control. Hours later, Labour leader Keir Starmer released a devastating statement. Khan's comments do not represent the Labour Party. When your own leader disowns you publicly, that's political death in real time. Markets reacted instantly. The pound dropped 0.3% after Charles's speech, erasing £1.22 billion from London's financial sector in a single day. Bloomberg analysts began questioning whether London could remain a global financial hub amid such chaos. Investors hate instability. By morning, protests erupted across the city. Thousands carrying Union Jacks flooded Trafalgar Square demanding Khan's resignation. Counter-protesters clashed with royalists. 12 arrests, 7 officers injured, 3 police vehicles damaged. London hasn't seen unrest like this since the 2011 riots, and it's getting worse by the day. Inside City Hall, everything is collapsing. Deputy Mayor Sophie Linden reportedly threatened to resign during an emergency meeting, saying Khan had crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Another aide said his political judgment had completely broken down. Sources describe him as exhausted, isolated, and glued to Twitter, unable to stop reading every criticism. One longtime aide said he knows he's in the fight of his political life and he's not sure he can win. Then everything changed again. The Telegraph obtained leaked documents from Khan's office. Internal emails from September revealed strategy meetings where his team discussed manufacturing a conflict with the monarchy to rally progressive voters. One email from his chief strategist read, "We need a villain. The crown is perfect, unelected, wealthy, traditional, everything our base opposes." If these leaks are real, this wasn't a spontaneous feud. It was calculated. Khan may have deliberately provoked the king, expecting public sympathy for the elected mayor standing up to the unelected monarch, but he catastrophically misjudged Britain in 2025. The country isn't ready to abandon the crown, and especially not for a mayor blamed for rising crime, unaffordable housing, and a divided city. Constitutional historian David Starkey called the leaks the most cynical political manipulation I've seen in 50 years. The Conservative opposition smelled blood and moved fast. Leader Kem Bardock held a fiery press conference that sounded more like a campaign launch. While Sadiq Khan attacks the king, she said real Londoners suffer. Crime is up 23%. Rents are at record highs. 12,000 businesses have fled the city. And his response, attack the one institution that unites this country. The data backs her up. Knife crime in London is up 31% since KHN took office. Rents up 48%. Small businesses fleeing in record numbers. Conservative support in London has surged from 31% to 42% in just 4 days. For the first time since 2016, they're leading Labour in Greater London polls. The next 72 hours will decide everything. Monday, and a vote of no confidence, where even his own councillors may turn on him. Thursday, an emergency parliamentary debate demanding an investigation into whether he exceeded his authority. Saturday, a massive royalist march expected to draw over 100,000 people, possibly the biggest in decades. The question now isn't whether Khan survives politically. It's whether London itself can survive the chaos he's created. Britain is watching its capital tear itself apart, divided between those who believe elected leaders can challenge tradition and those who believe tradition must endure. Not since the abdication crisis of 1936 has the monarchy been challenged this directly. At the center stands Sadiq Khan, isolated, desperate, and politically finished. So here's the real question. Did Khan just commit career suicide by declaring war on King Charles? Or did Charles cross a constitutional line by interfering in London's politics? Who wins? The elected mayor or the unelected king? Tell us in the comments. Do you stand with Khan or with Charles? Should Khan resign or does he have the right to challenge royal interference? Because this isn't just London's fight. It's a battle for Britain's soul. If this story shocked you, share it. The mainstream media shows the surface, but not the truth. We do. And tomorrow, we'll release the full leaked emails proving Khan planned this from the start. What's inside them will change everything you think you know about this crisis. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the next 48 hours will decide whether a mayor or a monarch controls Britain's capital. This is history happening in real time, and you don't want to miss what comes next.